Autism isolates children from their families and isolates families from their communities. Having a child with autism is like wanting to use the subway to get somewhere, but not knowing where to catch the train or which train you need to catch to reach your destination.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day. Please bow. Train approaching the station.
STE Consultants creates a map for families that clearly guides them towards their destination, maximizing their child's potential. I think for a lot of parents, to have a child diagnosed with autism is devastating. They've just received a diagnosis of autism for their child. They are now working with a multitude of specialists, like a developmental pediatrician or a speech therapist, an occupational therapist. Sometimes they're working with a team at a school district. And then we come in the picture, and all they want to know is, like, how are you going to help me? How are you going to help me help my kid?
At STE Consultants, the primary tool we utilize is applied behavior analysis, commonly referred to as ABA. ABA is a scientifically validated discipline that is focused on understanding behavior and how it is affected by an individual's environment. It's the skilled application of ABA methodologies like discrete trial teaching, positive reinforcement, verbal behavior, and natural environment training that brings about meaningful, positive change in an individual's behavior.
The beauty of applied behavioral analysis is that it allows our clients to be more functioning with their families, with their communities, and ultimately to lead more independent lives, which leads to a better quality of life. Everyone involved at STE Consultants, from our direct therapists, lead therapists, to our clinical directors, share the same vision and are incredibly passionate about working with children affected by autism. I have 2 beautiful children, I have a loving husband, but they all know that, STE is the third love of my life. To be able to, go to my computer in the morning and open an email from a parent who is effusive in how much our services have changed their family's life and changed their child's life, I don't think it gets better than that. Our primary goal now is to educate parents, health insurance companies, teachers, and even other practitioners in how to access ABA services through health insurance or other available funding sources, and ultimately how to implement effective programs that will change the lives of the children that we work with or of the children that they serve. We are in New York, we're in New Mexico, we work in Utah, Colorado, Texas. People ask all the time, how did you decide to go to these states? Because they seem kind of randomly selected. And they're not, there's a purpose behind it. New York was created after a lunch meeting with Casey Ludwig, who is our New York Regional Director, at one of my favorite restaurants, the Little Owl in Greenwich Village. She was working as an independent contractor, but was sorely missing the collegial relationships that she had when she was at STE, and also felt like the service delivery model that many people were using in New York could be improved upon.
Basically what we saw lacking in the New York area was one-to-one in-home providers using applied behavior analysis with kids with autism. We're uniquely equipped to handle servicing kids in our community because we not only have staff who are well qualified due to educational training, very fluent in the principles of behavior analysis, but we also have that compassion for working with families.
I've worked in several agencies in New York as well as clinical and school settings. I really like the environment here at ST. It's very different than anywhere else I've ever worked. we're actually able to see the gains the children are making. We're able to support the parents in the way that they have not been supported in the past. Other agencies often send therapists into the home and they don't really provide much training for the parents or even staff training or supervision. And the thing that we do that I think is really great is giving parents the chance to get involved in sessions. We provide a lot of training for them.
It's important that our families feel like they're a part of our team. We look to them to set goals. We expect them to collect data. We look for them to participate in our team meetings.
So the parents really get this sense that when the therapists are gone, they can still provide this quality treatment. They can still do what's needed to be done. They can still give their kids effective strategies to work with, even when they're on their own.
Like our office in Alamogordo, New Mexico, we also work with military families here in New York. One of our families is the Brennans. They have twin girls, Charlotte and Caroline, who are both diagnosed with autism. We service them in-home in a variety of different activities, and mom keeps them very busy as dad is away on duty.
I first sensed something was not right in my daughter Caroline when she was about 4 months old and couldn't support her head on her own. So initially we contacted early intervention and they did an evaluation, and immediately they implemented physical therapy for Caroline. But the physical therapist started to notice lack of eye contact, lack of responding to her name, and thought it was time to have a more intense evaluation. And that's when they did the autism evaluation and diagnosed her with PDD-NOS, which is on the autism spectrum. At the time of her diagnosis, we were moving from Hawaii to Virginia because my husband was on military orders, and we didn't have enough time left to start services in Hawaii. But because I didn't know where she fell on the spectrum, I felt it was imperative to get services started immediately. So I called and made arrangements for services when we arrived in Virginia. 6 months after we moved, we had yet another move, and we had to move up to New York this time. After doing ABA for 2 years in Virginia, I realized the importance of ABA. For Charlotte, she works with her therapist, and her interests are science and geography. So her therapist got a weather station, a little kit that she can go out on break or during session and take wind speed or rainfall and check her weather instruments, and to her that's very motivating. We were so fortunate to get the recommendation of STE from someone in the field.
When's your birthday?
August 18th.
Your birthday is August 18th. How old are you?
7 years.
Good job! You are 7 years old. Nice complete sentence.
It's the little things that the therapists do that make such a big difference for my kids. And they often work with me and tell me, you know, we're not here 24 hours a day, so we want to give you the skills to deal with it when we're not here. And I appreciate that so much. They've been helpful with providing support, getting us reinforcers, whatever the kids need, whether it be a game or a toy.
What time will it be in 15 minutes?
3:45.
Wow, that was really quick. Good job, Charlotte.
And whenever we have a behavior, STE makes their therapists available to help, whether I need them to come at night for bedtime or in the morning to help with a school routine. They never say no, which has been a blessing for me, especially because I'm on my own to deal with 2 kids. I feel very encouraged for my girls' progress because the level of therapists that we work with has been superior, and they work very hard and they're very dedicated to helping my kids succeed and progress. The advice I would give to a parent that thinks their child may have a problem, I would say network with people in your community, whether it be organizations that deal with children with developmental delays or autism, and research and see what's available in your state by law, what the insurance companies need to provide and are obligated to provide, and what the community provides as far as the county or the school system. Because if you don't ask for it and if you don't know what you're entitled to, no one's going to hand it to you.
STE's office in Glen Cove, New York, like our other offices around the country, looks to the company's main corporate headquarters in Berkeley, California, for direction and guidance as we roll out new programs and apply best practices. Berkeley's a fitting location for our main corporate office because the people of Berkeley value diversity as much as we do.
Berkeley is the heart of STE. We have been in Berkeley for, a number of years, and part of the reason we love to be here is because it's really the birthplace of the disability rights movement. And so the culture of Berkeley is very much aligned with our values at STE. This is also the proving ground, so to speak, of all of our programs. It's essentially kind of where the birthplace of everything that we do, and then once it's been vetted in Berkeley, then we roll it out to all of our other regions. We are totally equipped with different types of technology here. We can use video modeling. We can do live feeds into clients' homes. We can do, e-learning units on the computer. But we just really wanted to create an environment that was conducive to learning in order to ensure that the outcomes that we get with our kids are what we want and they continue to be exceptional. Part of the brilliance of this space is that it is so open and it almost has a kind of home-like energy to it, and that's something that we really value. We have our largest clinical team in California, and we meet in this office at least twice a month to discuss relevant clinical issues. We also have all of our executive and administrative team here in California, and so it's just a wonderful space for us to all be together and to really focus on what do we want to do, where do we want to go, and how do we maintain the excellence that people come to expect from us.
Our meetings are always very collaborative and inspiring. I feel like we have a lot of really intelligent, driven, passionate people who are really focused on giving the best services possible.
But still have a really detailed spreadsheet in Google Docs.
Being a part of a treatment team and working on skills that help kids access things like birthday parties and going to the store with their families, or even just going on vacation. Seeing kids make improvement in those areas and seeing how big the family's world can get is just amazing.
It's really exciting, especially when not only you see kids being able to gain skills that they never had before, but also when you're getting responses from families of, "You've changed our lives." That's huge.
They were professional and empathetic, well-researched. There wasn't anything that felt pushy, and STE was just kind of right. So they came to our house for an assessment, and they sat down with Connor for probably about 3 hours. It felt like play. Honora was on the floor with Connor.
That one.
Yeah. They were playing. She was able to make it all seem very seamless. Almost 10 months later, we've now seen great improvements in his language, in his social skills as far as interest in peers and wanting to do the same things and to play with them and the type of interaction that you should be seeing at this stage. We're finally there now. Verbally, he's able to converse and really be involved. We're just at a place that we didn't envision being in 10 months ago. So the types of improvements that we've seen are drastic for us.
What do you see?
A woman.
A woman? How do you know that's a woman?
Because she has long hair.
Because she has long hair. Good job.
So STE has given us a lot of good training tools to better understand what might trigger Connor's behaviors, what gets him there, how to get him out of there faster, and sort of a better understanding of his world. So that in itself is not something that we had a year ago. Because as a parent with a diagnosis, the worst fear is that you no longer know what's best for your child. And you have to outsource that. You have to go to professionals that will tell you the best way to reach your child and to maximize their potential. Diagnosis sort of alters what you envisioned for your child. 10 months into therapy, I'm now back to what my original healthy child vision looked like. Life is back to normal for us, and we're finally where we should be as a family. It took us a while, but we got there.
When Sarah and Lena decided to replicate the model of STE in New York and in Colorado and New Mexico, was the idea that it works really well here and we know how to do it, so let's go do it out there where kids are not getting services.
I met Joy while she was a doctoral student at Utah State University. I was immediately struck by how compassionate, kind, and bright she was. I thought she would be an amazing addition to the team at STE, and so I hired her on as our Four Corners Outreach and Development Director. Joy has single-handedly pioneered our telehealth model, which has allowed us to provide services, especially to military families all over the country, regardless of whether or not they have a permanent change in station. And she's just been a wonderful addition to our team, and we're really glad to have her here.
We developed the service model primarily with the state of New Mexico in mind because the majority of the state is rural. So families, particularly in the southern area of the state, are not able to access services. We hire a therapist in the hometown to work with the family, and we use our technology to then train the therapist in the methodologies of applied behavior analysis. Using that technology, we were also able to assess the clients and develop an individualized treatment plan for them, and then provide ongoing supervision weekly for the families.
Alamogordo is an interesting location because not only are there no behavior analysts in the local area, there's also an Air Force base right outside of the city limits. Joy and I had a chance to meet with the medical director there, and she essentially told us if she has any type of incoming military personnel that has a child with autism or special needs, she generally doesn't want them to come on base because they don't have any services for these families. We have traditionally and historically served populations that have been marginalized. It's incredibly valuable to us to make sure that we can offer our services regardless of where someone lives, so there's no limit to what you can get just because you're in a remote area. I believe really strongly in what we're doing there and what we're providing for the community. By working with the children in the Alamogordo area and also on Holloman Air Force Base, we've been able to really fine-tune our telehealth model. And so essentially what we're trying to create is ABA with no geographic boundaries.
We're a military family. We've been stationed in Alamogordo for about 3 years. Jason received ABA services in California, where we were stationed previously. And when we moved to New Mexico, he stopped receiving services for just about 2 years. I kind of heard through the grapevine about STE.
I feel that they genuinely care about Jason as a kid. They want to know, how was his first day of school? What did the doctor say when you went? How did the play date go? They want to hear the stories about what he's doing in his life when they're not around. And it's not just because they want to think of some new therapy technique. They really care about him. So we think that, if he can get these social skills and behavior skills down, then he can take some of the other gifts that he has and some of the academic skills and take them farther. Any kid could really benefit from a lot of the things that he's learning, but they're able to teach him in the way that he can learn it. If you're willing to put in the work, you're going to see the results.
Go STE.
When I'm able to help families find a solution for their children, it makes me feel very gratified to know that they see a future for their children.
So we have 2 classrooms that are set up in our clinic in Alamogordo. One classroom is set up for children that are early learners or that require minimal environmental distractions to learn. We then have another space set up for children who are ready to learn in small group settings or large group settings.
Give me underbox. You did it!
Our clinic in Alamogordo is not only a place to provide services for children and families, but also is our training site for STE staff and for teachers throughout the entire southern state of New Mexico. We're very excited about the clinic in Alamogordo and expanding services for families. Personally, my nephew, Jordan, was diagnosed with autism about 2 years ago, and my family lives in southern New Mexico.
Here you go.
I'll pick you.
You're welcome.
There was no services here up until a year ago. Now STE is here, and they're providing services for my son. And my son just loves all of his therapists, and you know, it just puts a smile on his face when they come through the door. He is now saying full sentences. He did not know any shapes, colors, counting. I think he counted to 3, 4, something like that. He can now count to 30, knows all of his shapes, all of his colors, and interacts with other children, shares. And now we can take him to the movies, out to eat, go shopping. He holds my hand in the stores and stuff like that. But it's just been a lot less stressful. We're looking forward to regular preschool for him, which he's starting this year.
So when Jordan was first diagnosed with autism, he was eligible to receive services through the state Medicaid plan. The issue was that there were no providers in the southern state of New Mexico.
There was no one around to provide him with any type of services to help ameliorate the symptoms of his autism.
So at the time, I approached Sarah and Lena about developing this telehealth model so that we could provide services. And not only was STE incredibly supportive about creating this telehealth model, but they also offered to fund 20 hours of ABA therapy for my nephew so that we could beta test not only the supervision model, but the staff training components.
Our Alamogordo office was really born out of our desire to want Jordan to be able to access services that were going to make a difference for him.
When we began providing services for Jordan, we ran into another issue. Transporting Jordan back and forth from school to his therapy was an issue for my sister, and she needed to quit her job so that he could receive his therapy services. So STE went the extra mile, and they opened up a clinic in Alamogordo so that Jordan and my sister were able to receive the services that STE had put in place for them. We don't want families to be in positions like my sister was, so we seek to open other clinics like the one in Alamogordo for families that are in similar circumstances.
I am so excited to be a part of STE here in Alamogordo to help other children make the same progress that Jordan has.
At STE Consultants, we're committed to using the best practices and latest research in our science, applied behavioral analysis, in order to get the best outcomes for our clients. We love what we do here at STE Consultants, and we welcome you to come check us out and learn a little more about us. Visit us at steconsultants.com.